It's late at night. A policeman on patrol notices a man, clearly drunk, bent over under a street light, searching for something on the ground. He walks up and asks, "What are you looking for?" The drunk mumbles, "My keys, I lost my keys." So the officer trying to help starts looking too. Both of them scan the pavement under the glow of the lamp side by side for a good few minutes. Finally, the policeman straightens up and asks, "Are you sure you lost them here?" The drunk looks up, confused but honest. "Oh no, I lost them in the park." The officer frowns. "Then why on earth are you searching here?" The drunk smiles, pointing to the ground. "Because this is where the light is." That's us. Every time there is a tragedy, we search where it's bright and visible, not where the truth actually lies. Last week, a bus traveling from Hyderabad to Bengaluru went up in flames on the highway near Kurnool. 20 people lost their lives. The next morning, headlines play on repeat. Private travels flouting safety norms. Government orders statewide inspection drive. More checks, stricter rules. Sounds familiar, right? We have heard this before, but somehow the ending never changes. Private bus operators are the easiest villains to pick. The story writes itself: greed, speed, and recklessness. But look closer, and you will see something else. They are squeezed from both ends. Permits, licenses, fitness checks each come with its own official fee and often an unofficial one. Read bribes. On the other hand, fare caps keep prices fixed, so they can't even charge enough to cover real costs. You might ask, so how do they survive? By moving faster, more trips, more risk, less margin for error. The money that should have gone into safety ends up feeding the same system that is set up to keep us safe. Meanwhile, RTC buses, state run, taxpayer funded, can run half empty, half late, and half broken. They don't have to turn a profit because you already pay for their losses. So when accidents happen, it is the private ones that get called greedy. But the truth is, they are just trying to stay alive in a rigged system. If they are so bad, why not seek a ban? Because the government knows private buses go where the state fleets don't. They leave on time, they meet real demand. Most intercity passengers in India travel on private buses, not out of love, because they work. We are punishing the only part of the system that actually delivers. If the government truly believed they were unsafe, it should replace them overnight. But it can't, because that would mean running buses at scale, at a loss, forever. So we end up with the hypocrisy of control without capability. Regulate what you can't replicate. Every time there is a tragedy, the solution is the same: more checks. The transport department swings into action. Buses are stopped, papers examined, permits suspended, cameras flash, ministers speak, numbers look impressive. But here's what doesn't make the headlines: supply collapses. That's right. When inspections increase, many operators simply pull their buses off the road. They can't afford the downtime, they can't risk the harassment. And when supply drops, fares go up. Fewer buses, same number of passengers, higher prices. Now the government faces a new problem: angry commuters. So it caps fares. And that's when the real damage begins. Because when you freeze prices, you freeze innovation. When operators can't charge what they need, they cut what they can: maintenance, staff training, rest stops, emergency upgrades. You see the irony? The very system meant to make buses safer ends up making them cheaper and deadlier. Now, here is what really exposes the myth that private operators need to be dictated by the government. If you have ever booked a bus on Red Bus platform, you have probably seen the blue Primo tag. It wasn't mandated by any transport rulebook. It was invented by the market. Clean buses, on-time performance, verified operators. How do you explain that? A full quality certification built around what passengers actually value: reliability and trust. And it worked. Operators started competing to earn the tag because passengers paid for it. That's the beauty of incentives. When you let people innovate for reputation and reward, they don't need a regulation to behave better. If a private platform can sell clean and on time as premium features, what's stopping it from selling safe? Nothing. accept the belief that safety belongs to the government. If government just gets out of the way, the market can build its own safety primo faster than any department ever could. You might think that government knows what's safe, but most safety norms are borrowed from countries with different roads, vehicles, climates. Some are too expensive to follow, others make no sense for Indian conditions. So they sit in dusty files enforced only when there is money in enforcing. We have built a theater of safety, rules, forms, stickers, complaints without real consequence. Now think of one player who actually loses money when things go wrong, the insurer. When a bus crashes, it's the insurance company that pays out, not the government, not the RTO, and that's the difference. And that difference matters because when government pays, it's not their money, it's yours. Every ex gratia payment after a tragedy like Kurnool comes from the taxpayer. No one's job depends on preventing the next one. But for an insurer, every accident is a direct financial hit. That's why they, not the government, should be the real regulators of safety. Let's break that down. There are three types of insurance. Third party insurance, which is actually mandated by the law, it protects others on the road. Comprehensive insurance covers damage to the vehicle. Passenger insurance protects you, the person in that seat. And it's often worth just 20 or 30 rupees per ticket. Red Bus already offers a 5 lakh cover for 22 rupees. If every passenger had that, the Kurnool fire would have cost insurers a lot. They would have had every reason to make sure it never happened again. But here is the catch. Why is this insurance premium flat? Insurance should reflect the risk. But from what I found, the insurance fee is the same for all the buses. So whether your bus speeds through 50 black spots on NH44 or crawls safely through city limits, the premium is the same. A careful driver and a reckless one pay the same. So what's stopping the insurance companies from pricing according to the risk? Insurance regulators in India should answer that question. Just imagine a world where your insurance premium changes with your behavior, where safety isn't guessed, it's measured. That's telematics. Small GPS and sensor units inside buses already track speed, braking, lane changes, engine health. Fleet apps record how long a driver's been behind the wheel, whether he's fatigued, even if he takes sharp turns. Now imagine this data being fed directly into an insurance system. A bus that speeds at 100 kilometers per hour through black spots gets a red flag, higher premium next month. Another that maintains steady speeds, low incident reports, and routine maintenance, premium drops. Insurance stops being a piece of paper and becomes a real time feedback loop for safety. And this isn't science fiction, it's already happening globally. In the US, insurances like Allstate track driving data to set premiums. In Europe, fleets use telematics dashboards to get daily safety scores. The data isn't used to punish, it's used to reward, to make safe driving profitable. Now imagine if India let that evolve. Operators could track every driver, every trip, every route. Insurance companies could publish life safety ratings by setting different passenger insurance prices for different fleets or even routes, and passengers could choose accordingly. That's a system that doesn't need inspectors, it needs incentives. Insurers could say your driver oversped twice last week, your premiums up 5%. Or you have run accident free for a year, here is a discount. Suddenly, safety becomes profitable. No need for checkposts, no need for surprise rides. The data itself becomes enforcement. Think about that. Today, you know more about your Zomato delivery guy than about a person who drives you for 8 hours. When government pays, the story ends with condolence checks. When insurance pays, the story begins with prevention. Because insurers can't afford to pretend, they must measure, manage, and reduce risk. And that's the system you have never built. A safety network where the people with the most to lose have the most power to prevent. Here is the real tragedy. The state has crowded out the safety market. By claiming monopoly or safety, it leaves no room for others to innovate. Operators can't market safety because it's the government's responsibility. Insurers can't incentivize it because they are bound by regulation. Passengers don't demand it because they assume it's already guaranteed. The result? Safety becomes nobody's business and everybody's slogan. If inspections and fare caps worked, our highways would be the safest places in the world. Instead, we have over 1.5 lakh road deaths a year. It's not regulation that saves lives, it's incentives. Let's insurers measure risk. Let data shape behavior. Let operators compete to prove who's safest. Because the safest system is not the one with the most inspectors, it's the one where accidents cost real money. The Kurnool tragedy was more than a fire, it was a mirror. We keep asking for more government when what we need is more accountability. We don't need another inspection drive. We need a system where every unsafe kilometer costs you something and every safe one rewards you back. That's how you stop accidents, not by checking buses, but by checking incentives.